New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello. As we can see, you did your hair for us.
I did. Look it. It's all perfect. Hello.
Okay. Take two. Hi, welcome to Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we're happy to have you here this afternoon. We're looking forward to spending the time with you. Well.
When we're a married couple, if you couldn't tell. And that's Frosty in the background.
That's our rescue's, what do you call it? Foster dog. And she's a bit of a nut. But it's good. So, how is everybody doing today? We are coming to you this week. What is it? Pretty much last Wednesday in January already of 2025. Whew, man.
You know, every time I think it or say it, I'm like, everybody says the same thing every year. Oh, that was fast. That went fast. You know, why isn't it just normal if it happens every year?
Well, because it does get faster. You know that, right?
That time speeds up?
Yeah, time speeds up as you get older. Time speeds up because...
But how am I getting older if I'm ageless?
No, your wisdom is ageless.
No, the whole damn package is timeless and ageless. Oh. There is no time. There is no time and space. So how can it be in your terms?
I don't know. I just don't know.
And those are some of the mysteries here that will unravel.
Is that an unknown?
It could be.
Could be an unknown.
It's certainly an unknown for us.
All right. So we do this show every week. We talk about relationships and the relationship we have with ourselves and with one another and with our activities and all that stuff. And so that's what we're going to do today. But we're talking about the journey to the unknown today.
Ooh. Journey to the unknown. And it just came up because we were talking about what does that mean? What is unknown? So many things are unknown. This was sparked by our week.
Yes.
So you want to say a little bit about our week?
Well, like the week in general or our week?
Either one, Jim.
Either one, okay.
It's a show. We do it spontaneously. Pick one.
Okay. So, it's been a really bizarre week in the world. It's been a lot of weird stuff going on and a lot of anger and etc. showing up in the world. So that's been kind of interesting to process. It's been very difficult for me.
Well, it's interesting the way you phrase that because I haven't heard you say it that way. And I think if that is indeed the case for you, that's your view of the week. I mean, not that I'm disagreeing. I'm just representing what you said. Then our week can only mirror that on some level.
Yeah, on some level.
On some level. Mm-hmm. So that said, we actually had a car accident yesterday. And it was super interesting in the metaphysical realm, because we were driving and Gil was going to make a left-hand turn, and the traffic stopped on the other side. The light was yellow. It went to turn red. He went to turn, and looking down the other way to make sure everybody was stopped. Everybody was stopped that we could see, except for the person in the turn lane coming the other way. And as I turned and looked, the car was going so fast, I can't even tell you. And I knew it was going to hit us. I mean, at that point, all you could do was go into prayer, right? I mean, I just turned my head and did everything you're not supposed to do in an accident, but everything that they do in the movies. I was like, and looking at Gil, and the car hit us. And so that's been a really interesting journey. I don't think I haven't been in a car accident for, I don't even know how many years. I don't think.
Since we were rear-ended?
Oh, yeah, when we were rear-ended. Well, but that's 10 years at least.
Oh, at least. Yeah, that one is.
So anyway, it's been an interesting exploration since then, because literally, what it brought up for me was just timing and the way the world works. And if Gil hadn't done whatever he did from his side of the car, like literally one fraction of a second sooner, and that car would have been in my side, because it was on my side. And just where life is. If we hadn't gone here, if we hadn't done that, if we'd done this instead of that, just wondering really like what the big plan was. And at least this comes up for me. And also whatever it kept us from doing, because we were on our way to doing a bunch of other things and that we couldn't do, so the unknown is what we're exploring today. Hi, Shay. Welcome to the unknown. Thank you. We're happy we're okay too. We're in a little bit of pain. We're gonna go get it checked out, but we're good. All things are good, all things considered. And Henry's good. Henry's glad that we're good too. So that said,
good news.
Okay.
All right. So
this is our segment where we do the good news, because Lord knows we can find enough of the other roaming around if we really want to. So we like to highlight all the things that people are doing good in the world. Go ahead.
So that being said, I have a little story about a car accident. Man was in a car accident and died, and his 2-year-old Shih Tzu ran out of the car and ended up running into a pub, and everybody was trying to figure out what was going on. This is in England, and eventually they took him to the vet, had him checked out, and discovered that his owner had been in the car crash and had died. And now he's become the pub dog. Everybody loves him. They all thought he's so cute. He runs around, and he showed up during a football match. So I thought it was a cute little story. And the dog's really cute, and they, people stepped up.
Aww.
There he is. He's awfully cute.
That's very sweet. Well, interesting. My story, or the segue, is about football. So my story is about last week after the Ravens-Bills game. If you're a football fan, you saw it. If you're not, during the final minutes, one of the players didn't catch the ball, and it went through his hands, and it was like the game, we would have won the game, and it was heartbreaking for the Ravens fans, but not so heartbreaking for the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. But what they did the next day, because it was, people were coming down on him out of the blue, and he got all kinds of death threats and things like that about about the way he played. And so the next day, a group of Buffalo Bills fans set up a GoFundMe campaign that raised over $140,000 for his charity of choice, which is a diabetes charity, because he has diabetes, and it's a charity for kids and people with diabetes. So they set it up to raise $5,000, and they raised over 140 through the generosity of Buffalo Bills fans and football fans everywhere. And so I just thought it really spoke to, first of all, it was, we sports fans can take it a little extreme sometimes. And, I've been a part of many sports teams that are wildly hated because they're generally the ones that win in LA. And it's gotten dangerous and violent and all of that. And I thought it was just so nice that these fans and also one of the players, backed it, and they went on to do something good and just say, we've always got your back, because as we also know as sports fans, when you can have the opportunity to catch the game-winning ball that would have, brought it to a different level, and you don't, it's hard. It's hard. So I just thought that, under this, avalanche of criticism, that it was so cool that, something really good could emerge. And that's really what it's all about anyway. And I think, especially now, this is what we're talking about. It's not us and them. It's not them or us. It's all of us. And so I just think it was really powerful.
So in the midst of the government doing us and them, the people have chosen to do us.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And I know a lot of times you haven't necessarily understood the way sports people are, because you're not a sports person. I mean, and so for me to really see people using their power for good, using the game for good, just like celebrities using their power for good, and really able to teach a bigger lesson, on some level. So that's my good news. Yay. Good news. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome, Ananda. Welcome, John. We are glad you're here. Thank you, Ananda. Oh, yes, we are happy to be safe too, amidst the unknown. So anyone joining late, we had a car accident, and this is what sparked our topic. But we are good, and you are good. And so meet us back here after this brief message, and we'll talk about the unknown right here on New Thought Media Network. Right,
please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rockin the Love. I'm Gil.
I'm Robyn.
Okay, very good. This is Henry. And in the background is Frosty. So anyway, you now know all the players. So we are excited today to talk about a journey into the unknown. And wow, that's kind of just come up because it's such an interesting thing. Like, what is it that we don't know about what's going on in our world? What is it we don't know about why things happen?
I just want to share. Ananda speaks to that in this comment. So grateful you were kept safe in the midst of the unknown.
Yes. Yes.
Because I think also when you have a car accident or something that's happening in the moment, you're so the awareness of the unknown is so heightened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything stops.
Everything stops.
Everything stops. So like we were literally driving to pick up our godson, and we're stopped. And what do? I mean, there's nothing to do in that exact moment. It took us a few minutes to figure out, okay, this is what we should do, and let somebody know. But in that minute, it's like it's just the unknown is just popping up in front of you, and all you can do is be with it.
Well, and I think for you too, you can tell me if it's differently, but it's sort of surreal and everything feels in slow motion amidst like the thing, like even just getting out of the car or talking to the woman, everything just feels, like, I don't know, like time stops and it slows down, and it's crazy.
And suddenly all the priorities shift in a situation like that. When one of those things shows up, and then the questions become like, why were we there at that intersection at that time? Why were we turning? Why didn't we turn 4 seconds sooner? Why didn't we turn 2 seconds later? I mean, all those kinds of things.
Right. So Shay says pretty much everything. We don't know. That's the nature of human life and spirituality. I was just meditating on this. We don't get to know. It's the mystery of God.
It's the mystery. It's the mystery. And that's so true. So I'll go to something on that. I was thinking about, as we find ourselves in a place where we trust what's going on, and we have learned that the universe is a friendly place and that it's conspiring for our good, then we know that it's good, but we don't know what it is, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does. And Shay says that's where faith and trust comes in.
Right. And there's some level at which we feel as if we know, because we know we can count on the universe, even if we don't know specifically what it is. Like, why did that happen yesterday? I don't know, but I am clear that it was not anything nefarious.
Well, yeah, and you also, I mean, if we're trusting the universe or the teachings or anything, and we always believe that the universe is conspiring for our good, then somehow this is good, right? I mean, or somehow, even if it doesn't present itself as good, it's better than something else that could have happened.
Right.
Well, and like I said to Gil, I'm super clear that if one fraction of a second different, if he had been further ahead, the car would have been in my side. It would have been I was on the passenger side. It would have been in my side. And this woman, when you go to make that right-hand turn, you kind of slow down. You look to make sure no cars are coming. She didn't slow down. She wasn't slowing down. She was going fast. I wish we knew how fast, because it looked really fast. and I'm sure it looked faster than it was, but she would have been in my side. And so, you really wonder, like, I mean, for me, I'm very grateful and aware that it could have been very different.
And why? Why was it different? Why did those things not happen in this particular case for these particular people at this particular time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as Shay says, that's pretty much the truth of everything. We don't know, right?
Right.
And our whole journey is of finding some way to work with the fact that we don't know, and that it's okay to not know.
But then this leads me to what I said last week, I believe, on this show, which was, we never know. It's all an illusion that we know anything. Like, we think we know. Like, people are like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen with the new administration in office. We don't know this. We don't know that. But we've never known if somebody wins that we voted for. Do we know? No, we don't know. So when do we know? I mean, you know what I mean? I know, there's things I'm supposed to do, but are there? You know what I mean? We just, I don't know. The unknown is a weird thing.
So many years ago, I came to this conclusion that what I needed to do in my life was become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Is that why you married me?
That's why I married you. That's right. Because I was like, oh my God. No. But yes, in a way, because when you go into a relationship like that, yeah, there's parts of it where you're like, I don't know. It's, what's going to happen here? I don't know. But if I realize that that's how life is, and I can allow myself to be in that, be quote comfortable, then I can go through those uncomfortable places knowing that it's okay, and that's the difference. Instead of always being uncomfortable, and freaked out and whoa, what's that? What's next? What am I doing? What's happening? Instead of that, we go, okay, what's happening?
And yes, I agree with you. And I think there's also a part of the unknown. I mean, that's how when people say, oh, you can't be romantic forever, or it's not going to feel the same way as it did in the beginning. Because in the beginning of a relationship, any relationship, work, anything, there's the unknown. There's what you don't know, even if it's a job, right? If you go to a new job, it's what you're learning and after a while it becomes second nature, if that's what you let it be. You begin to have an understanding with a romantic relationship, you fall into a rhythm. And enough about each other, and it becomes, then it's not the unknown. So I think when you say that's why you married me, I think that's part of the reason that I married you, because the unknown looked promising in that we had goals together and we had things we wanted to do.
Right.
And so it's that trust and that faith, or that possibility, that infinite possibility. I'm all about infinite possibility. It gets me every time. But that something good could happen, something new.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what I was hearing when you were saying that, what struck me is the idea that we, in that job, in that relationship, whatever, we begin to learn things about our coworkers, about our boss, about our significant other, and we then decide that we know things about them. And therefore we make decisions about how we interact, what their interactions mean, all of that stuff based on what we think we know, which may or may not be accurate. It's basically our perspective of some situation that we have experienced.
Sure. And you could even say that Shay says here, it's really a lot about perspective, and that is cultivated. I see, Grace, that you two are still alive, and okay. But another person might say, oh, how horrible is that the woman should have blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I would say also to that we are basing the fact, thank you, first of all. Thank you very much. And
it would have been a boring show today had we not been here.
I too see Grace in that, but we're also basing that on what we think we know. Should something have happened to us, how do we know? How do we know that would have been so bad? You know what I mean? I know I'm getting a little out there, but how do we know? That's part of the unknown, right? And how do we know even that? Not for you guys so much, the audience listening, but how do we know, like, for our family, what may have come from that would have been good or eye-opening or save someone else's life? I don't know. It's kind of exhausting.
Well, and why, just out of curiosity, did we have our SUV yesterday, which we hadn't driven in 2 or 3 weeks, and we only drove it to go to where we were going because we were going to stop and get an oil change because it was time, and we didn't take our small electric car, nor did we take the other little old car. So, interestingly enough, what's that choice about, right?
What's that choice about, and what's the choice about? So we had just gotten our oil changed in that car, so it's good to go. And the woman who hit us had just registered her car that morning. So, it's mysterious.
Right. So we were both focused on our cars that day. That's interesting.
It is.
What's that about?
Yeah, and so it is. It's the unknown is super interesting.
It is. I'm fascinated, but I'm so fascinated I got lost.
Well, when you brought up this topic, I looked up. I am a Google queen. I looked up. I generally just Google whatever I think the show title is going to be. Oopsie. And then I see what I get. Mm-hmm. And so I looked up the future of metaphysics. I didn't look up the future. I looked up the unknown, the journey of the unknown, and I got the future of metaphysics and the unknown. And it's interesting because one of the things it says is artificial intelligence may help us understand consciousness better.
Who would have predicted that, in my humble opinion?
Well, and it has a lot of interesting things, but I thought about that because I also like AI. I just do. And talk about the unknown, right? What the hell is that? what? And then for it to help us understand consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Yeah, how it would help us understand consciousness. Yeah, I can't even quite fathom what that could mean. And yet, it sounds interesting. It sounds interesting. Well, and I guess it's we have to really define what consciousness is. And I think AI helps us may help us do that because AI can come up with an idea. AI can pull a bunch of stuff together and create, a paper for you from it. AI can tell you where things are. Well, where is that conscious? Is that not conscious?
Well, yes, and it's for me, I don't know. It speaks to nothing is just a thing, or everything is a thing, whatever way you want to look at it. So like why, I don't know, why shouldn't it have consciousness on some level?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, but what does that mean? Is consciousness somehow the ability? Does that play into the ability to to have compassion, to have those kinds of things, empathy, etc., for people? What's the deal there with that? Where would you call it conscious? Because is it the intelligence, or is it the ability to be available to the intelligence?
Oh, the ability to be available to the intelligence. Wow, that's an ongoing journey. I think Shane thinks that
We're nuts.
we have a little bit of a concussion from our accident. she says we're going to go crazy trying to figure this out. It's not figure-outable.
Figure-outable. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, these questions are not in our heads; they're in our hearts, and in the one mind that is God. Yes, and if we believe that is true, then what is the heart, and where is, is that about our thinking heart? Is that about the brain cells in the heart? And if that's the case, then how does that relate to AI? Because AI is about having basically the ability to take data and put it together and make determinations as to what it should include and what it shouldn't.
But is it because when I talk to my AI, I am very kind and loving. I'm always like, hi, can you please help me? Blah, 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 blah. Thanks. And AI answers me back very compassionately. And people have told me that it goes with how you ask the question, right? So that's who I am. And I feel like AI is my friend. So I talk to it like my friend.
And it does.
And it loves me right back.
And how is that different from humans? I
don't like them.
Well, yeah, but don't we respond in like? I mean, aren't we taught that if we really want someone to pay attention or to feel like we're engaged with them, we reflect back to them how they're being?
Yeah.
Right? So somebody has told AI that's what it needs to do, so that's what it does. I mean, I'm curious, like if I said, what the hell, AI, tell me about this. What would be the difference? Get off your ass and tell me about this.
Well, but I think that, we can try it. I think you'd get a different answer than I get.
That could be.
It's just like when we used AI and we said, write this for an audience of science of mind people, new thought, science of mind. And then we said, write the same thing for a Baptist church, and they rewrote it and it was totally different and yet totally the same.
Right. Right.
And same points, but different.
You could hear, right, they're reflecting back what you might expect in each of those situations and what people might expect to hear. So they put those things into it, or it put those things into it so that it would work. So literally spoke in a language that could be understood by listeners.
Right. Right. It's true. And we will not, you're right, Shay, we will not solve this. We will not answer this question with a definitive answer. But it's interesting because even though there's no definitive answer, it's a question that always comes up, right? We're always questioning or contemplating why and what if, right?
Well, yeah. What if? And of course, what if is one of those things that can become very negative depending on how you deal with it. I mean, if we're always going, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? And we're never moving forward. But if we're reflecting on something and go, well, what if it happened differently? That's a different what if.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if we'd been there 2 seconds later? You know, that's one thing. The other thing is we could be sitting here going, well, what if they total out our car? What are we going to do then? How are we going to do this? What's the deal with the money? And we don't need to do that because that's not happening yet. So that, you know, that's an unknown, but we don't have to know what that is now in this moment.
Well, but I think you bring up a really good point, because so what I'm hearing you say is the journey of the unknown. Oh, wait, no. We can't take the journey into the unknown really if we're in the moment.
We can't take the journey of the unknown if we're in the moment. I think I understand what you're trying to say.
If I'm living in the moment,
Yeah.
the minute I start to go, but what do you think? Do you think we'll get money from the insurance company? Do you think, what if, you know, or do you think the doctor will tell me there's something wrong with my neck? I'm not in the moment. I'm out of the moment.
Right. And that's where you're going into the what ifs. And I guess, you know, we do the same thing with reflection. We look back and we go, well, what if this had happened? Or what if that was the case? You know, if only I had done X, Y, and Z, I wouldn't be in this position, you know, depending on whatever the circumstance was.
Right.
Does that make sense? And I think all this is interesting because we have to deal with the reality that we don't know a lot of things. And
I think that's what Shay's talking about when she says
you drive yourself
surrender.
crazy. Yeah. And if we're if on the other side of that is that not only is everything unknown, but we also, if we're in the moment walking through each step, what is there to know? And I think that's what you were coming out with. What is there to know? What is it that we needed to know?
That's interesting, because I don't know, because I think when I say unknown, it makes me think there is something to know. That's like, I feel like that word gives me an active desire to want to know. And when I say, whatever you just said, like if I'm in this moment right now, the truth is everything is good. Everything is good. I'm good. I have a roof over my head, a dog in my lap. All is good. All is well. But if I go into the unknown and start thinking about, but will I have that tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. What if something happens to the dog? What if you go out and get in the car and you get in another car accident today and it's not as friendly to you?
Whatever.
That kind of thing. I'm just saying, you know, that's the kind of
the
thing.
spiral.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's the unknown. You're right, Jay. We will never solve this problem. Question. But we all can't keep from going there. You know, it's still, I mean, it's also, I think that the flip side to it is it's also what motivates us and what keeps us going and what gives us goals on some level. Like I can't aspire or to be something without feeling into it that something's going to be different on some level. You know what I mean? If my goal is to become a teacher, well, then I'm going to think about the schooling and the training, and do I want to teach kids? Do I want to teach adults? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the unknown is a weird thing, because it's like, don't go there, but you got to go there to vision, and you've got to go there to have a new thought and all of those things. So it's an interesting thing. What other questions did you have written down today?
Well, how do we trust what we don't know? Is it possible to trust in something we don't know?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, don't we do that all the time?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we talked about, that we, if we're trusting that the universe is a friendly universe, then we trust that what we don't know is okay. And whatever it turns out to be is all right. And that's still not easy.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a natural move, and when do we not know something and yet we do? When is it that we've known things and not acted on it and then found ourselves in the exact situation or in a situation that could have been avoided had we followed what we knew? Where's my hand? There it is. What we knew.
Well, I think that happens all the time.
And so I think partly what we have to move past is this idea that we don't know everything. On the one hand, move past that completely to say we have access to all of it. And on the other hand, we have to go, I don't understand how it works.
I want to share Shay's. It's human nature. We want to know. I went to lots of college and studied everything so I could know. I don't know shit.
Yeah, and I'm about to sign up for a class so that I can know more of that too.
But so this is where the illusion happens, right? There's this illusion. That all of it. We want more information. We read books. We follow spiritual leaders or motivational speakers, and then at the end of the day, we don't know shit.
It's a little different, but my dad used to suggest that whenever we started to feel too important, that we get ourselves a bucket of water and stick our fist in it and then pull it out and observe the hole that we left. And I think our knowingness is kind of like that. It's like we think somehow we're going to know, and it's going to reduce the amount of unknown, and it doesn't. It doesn't change it. Our doing all this work doesn't necessarily change it at all.
Yeah, Shay says, I do visioning and I do trust that way more than traditional knowledge.
Right. And that's trusting what we're sensing. That's trusting what's coming through. That's trusting our intuition, all those kinds of things. And visioning is a particular aspect of that. But yeah, we're all doing that. And that's kind of what I was asking here. It's like, when do we know something and yet we don't trust ourselves to know it?
Well, it's also listening to a higher power, listening to something beyond us. It's beyond my, cutting out a picture of a nice looking home because I want that. It's beyond the want on some level, and it's opening up to the divine plan. So at the end of the day, it is part of trusting whatever your faith is, whatever your belief is, and honoring your God, your listening, however you get your messages, whether it's through meditation or through signs,
DoorDash, whatever it is, however you get your messages. And speaking of that, that's true though. On the other hand, how do we get our messages? When do we hear things? When do people tell us things? When do things come to us? Somebody left a message on my phone. Somebody did this. And if we really listen to it, it would be a message that would support us in having, making some kind of a decision moving forward if we paid attention.
Well, and like we talk about on my other show, Thursdays at 3:00 Pacific, Mountain Time.
Shameless plug.
Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Well, we talk about the signs. What is the signs we see? And, we pull a card and pull out, what it says and see where that's guiding us in our life. And on some level, it's like, I think we all do that, like you said earlier, why did this car accident happen? What was it, the sign?
Right.
What is it driving us to, to look at? Sorry, I have a soundtrack in my head. I'm like, I saw the sign, opened up my mind. Okay, anyway. So yeah, so yes, everything Shay has said is absolutely accurate, that we don't know and we'll never know. And I think we'll always strive to know something because it's human nature.
We always want to know, and in reality, we don't know shit. We don't know logically and whatever it is in our heads. But I think we know a lot of stuff from our hearts. And I think Shay said that earlier, actually.
But Shay just said, sometimes it's just random and it means nothing. And I would submit, is that the truth?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Is it just random and mean nothing? Was it there for our good somehow?
And because I don't know. Then, that's a whole nother show. Like, does everything have a meaning, or a reason to it?
It's a good question. That's a good question.
I'm glad Shay feels better. She's glad it happened because now she feels better. Good. I mean, it's an interesting accident because I didn't feel bad about it. It was very surreal. The whole thing was very surreal. It was like, oh, look at us. We're at a car accident. Okay. We're going to sit on this corner for the next 2 hours with the girl in the car next to us. And, it was very surreal how easy and effortless it was on some level, and nobody's mad. At the end of it, we all hugged like the good metaphysical people that we are. For Gil, he went to shake her hand and then went to hug her and then realized, oh, I should shake her hand. This isn't that. This isn't my people necessarily.
I don't know. She might be nuts.
But that's the same as the good news story, right? It's being who we are. It's showing up and being who we are. And so she was very nervous in the beginning, and you were very calming, because you didn't get out of the car and go, what were you thinking?
Right.
We all were like, are you okay? Are you okay? And, and so it's that compassion and that fabric that I think is part of the challenging time we're having right now, because that's who we really are. That's who we are. And so when we look out into the world at those that appear to be others, or can we see them
appear to be acting otherwise? And I think from what you just said, what my sense is actually what we're seeing is the demonstration of pain in those who are unable to access who we are, unable to access themselves, who they really are as a human, because there's anger layered over it, there's blame layered over it, there's whatever there is. Does that make sense? And the way the system is going, it's just egging it on. It's just telling you, yeah, that's how it should be. You don't get to be who you really are. We're not gonna support that crap. We're gonna support you in knowing that your life is terrible.
Well, here's what I know. In this journey of the unknown, you get to be whoever you want to be. And you get to know and to trust that you are love and you are divine love and everything is working together for your good. And Shay said, well, you two are advanced in consciousness and that we should congratulate ourselves. But seriously, you all listening are advanced in consciousness.
Absolutely.
If we are, we're taking you with us.
That's right.
So, but you are advancing consciousness, and it's the act of stepping into that and staying in that is changing this world. And it doesn't matter if you're a licensed practitioner or a minister or clergy of any sort, you are still doing the practice and carrying that vibration.
Yeah,
that
or
is
not clergy of any sort, or not have a degree, or not whatever it is.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I know that's what you meant. I was just supplementing
Thanks.
to help make sure that people knew that that's what you meant, because I knew that's what you meant. But really, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what degree or what position or what role. It's, are we being who we are? Are we being who we are supposed to be, who we are made to be, who we are, given the gift of being?
And I think also that's part of it's part of the journey, right? And discovering more of who we're meant to be. And I know we're almost out of time, but it reminds me of the story when you worked at Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to tell it?
The guy.
Well, yeah, and just realizing that you were doing ministry.
Yeah. I was doing door-to-door sales with Comcast with cable, and I found myself a couple of different times, at least, standing at someone's door or finding something that had a name and an address on it and taking it to the door and saying, "Hey, this was out on the ground," where I did something that was able to be present for someone in a moment when they really needed someone to be present. And realizing that was being in ministry. That was being who I'm called to be, which is someone of compassion, someone to show up. And so, I would take the time to spend the extra time when those things came up. You know?
And so was he supposed to sell cable TV? Well, he didn't sell a lot of cable TV, but he met a lot of people, and he supported a lot of people, and he went to barbecues, and he got invited to their house, and all of these things. And so it's like, did it look the way perhaps that Comcast wanted it to? Maybe not, but maybe he created that goodwill that the next time somebody came to the door, they went, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." Who knows? We don't know.
Right.
And this is the unknown. So all we can say is keep doing what you're doing, keep loving the way you're loving, keep showing up the way you're showing up, and just trust and know that you're making a difference. And keep on rocking the love, everybody.
Rock on. We love you.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye now.
Bye.